hate. I forgot my glasses and books. And I want to make sure I can read the comments, so hold on. If you notice, I've been doing a little bit of packing up here. A lot of packing up. And I just swallowed an antibiotic. And every single time I do a little burp, because I'm drinking it with a lot of water, it like, I can taste that powdery substance. Okay, so, I don't want to make this video about moving, since that's the only thing that's on my mind right now, but it's cool. I really want to tell you guys, well, I'm going to be talking a little bit about Cabarete in a minute, but I first want to just break into what this topic is: to pay your Dominican friends. A lot of people ask me when they come here, how much do I tip, Cerise? Because they don't want to tip the same amount they would tip at home, because they feel like they want to, fit in, or they don't want to, break the economy type of thing. Like they don't want to change things so quickly. So when I first came here, I continued to tip the way I would in Canada. So in Canada, if somebody brought me food or if somebody brought me drinks, I would tip differently. If they brought me drinks, I didn't feel I would have to tip, but it would just be a thing out of gratitude because I know they're working for their tips. So I wouldn't take 15% of the bill and pay them a tip. But if they're bringing like dishes to me of food, and not only to me but also to my guests, then yeah, definitely I was going to tip them the 15% of the check, like of the taxes and everything. I see a comment here. Let me see. Gendry Acosta, baby, I'm moving back to Sosua tomorrow, so hopefully we're gonna have to do a part 2. Alrighty. So yeah, when I continue to tip the same way. And interesting topic, I always tip a 10%. Gendery, yes. Okay. So sometimes there is no bill or anything like that, and you just kind of get tipped on. Hello, Jody. Hello from Alberta. You know what? I'm so used to saying Alberto here now and everything. I don't know how to say Alberta. I don't know here. Hello, Canada. 100 to 200 pesos, depending if the waitress is good and always on point with the table. Okay, so that's very interesting. 100 to 200 pesos. So 100 pesos, for those of you who don't know, is roughly $2, and 200 pesos is roughly $4. But you also want to keep in mind here that meals and drinks are a different price than in North America, right, guys? For a small beer, like just a regular size small beer, you might be paying $5. Or like $3.75, $4, or something like that. I don't know now, like when I was there. If I went like for a cheap day or whatever to a certain bar or whatever, well, let me not say beer necessarily, let me say wine, because I was more of a wine drinker in Canada and also here. So I can compare that better. So red wine. Okay, so red wine in Canada, which was the cheapest I would ever get it for. And if I was at like a club somewhere or whatever, where there's a lot of music and like a real disco type of thing, it could go all the way up to like $13 for one drink, right? So $5 here is like 250 pesos. But I can get a glass of wine here for 160 pesos, right? So we do tend to tip according to the bill, even here, okay? But just like what was just mentioned right now, if the waitress is good, you tip her or him. If the guy is good or whatever, you tip them from your heart. Not necessarily every single time, but if you go to the same place every single time, top them up a little bit. Of course, they're working there, and you know what? It's a lot different. Minimum wage here is a lot different than it is in North America. I cannot really speak for, Europe or Asia or Africa or anything of that nature, or the other Caribbean islands, but I can only speak about here, and the minimum wage is very low. So to give you an idea, some people working in restaurants, they could make 500 pesos a day, $10 a day, or they could even just be working for tips. Some people, if the restaurant just opened up and it's a Dominican owned restaurant and they don't really have a lot of startup, then the waitresses may offer, especially if there's a lot more expats that go into that establishment, the waitresses might agree to work for even 200 pesos a day. There's a place on the beach, I'm not going to mention the name, but because I don't want you guys to, you guys who may be appalled, you guys might be like, oh my gosh, especially as kind Canadians, right? You might be like, oh my gosh, they only get that much and they work 8 hours longer. So there's one place on the beach where I know they were paying their waitresses when they first opened up 200 pesos a day. That's $4 for 8 hours. But that paid for their transportation. And I'm not making excuses for anything, just I'm keeping it real, okay? So, and it's what the economy is here. Shocked. I was like, oh my gosh, how do they survive with just 200 pesos a day, which is $4, right? But this is the thing. A lot of other things are cheaper. Like it costs $3 to get on public transit, and in Toronto, probably more now. But here, it doesn't cost $3 to get on transit. It costs $1 to get in a public car, right? That's like Uber to go all the way from Sosua here to Cabarete, which is a long distance. And I wonder, because it's very expensive for gas here as well, very expensive. And I wonder, how do they make that work? But they work it out somehow. That's public car. Then there's also the guagua, and that is, or wawa, you don't pronounce the G, it's G-U-A, G-U-A, and you just say wawa, and that is 25 pesos. So that's 50 cents, and they can go all the way from Sosua to like Sabaneta type of thing. Most of the people that I know are from Sabaneta, not quite Gaspar Hernandez, but Sabaneta from Sosua is roughly, let me see, 15, probably about 25 minutes, right? Because it's about 10 minutes from Cabarete, Sabaneta, and Cabarete is about 15, 20 minutes away from Sosua. So give or take, a few minutes. So $4 a day, you're looking at one of that buck for being for, and then they have 2 extra bucks and they save. And especially if they have a family, they make it stretch with rice and beans and stuff of that nature. So they can make it work if there's no customers. However, your dollars are relied upon. And it's not that you have to tip hundreds of dollars or anything. It's not that you have to tip $20 like you would back in North America. But give it up a little bit. These people work very hard. Dominicans work so hard. Just even the way they keep, like when you walk along the beach, you'll see that they rake the beach, the sand, they're on it and they're working and they're trying to bring in people. And if they say to you, if you're walking along the beach and they're like, why don't you come on in to this place? We have, camarones, like we have shrimp, we have lobster, we have fish, we have this and that. And don't get annoyed. Say to them, not today, thank you. No hoy. No hoy. No is no in Spanish and in English. No hoy. Hoy is today. H-O-Y, but you don't pronounce the H. So it's just O-Y. No hoy, mi amor. That's it. No, not today, my love. And eventually, especially if you're here as an expat, they get to know you and then they'll play with you. They'll be like, not today, right? And they know that you have your favorite spot. And one day, do go in and buy a beer and say to the owner who owns that shop, say, oh yeah, this person got me in today. Give a little tip to them and keep it moving. Always remember that they are working hard here to make tourists happy, especially on the beach fronts and especially the beachfront of Sosua, because it has so much more vendors and restaurants in Sosua. Cabarete Beach has a lot more, has quite a few interesting things as well, but nothing like Sosua, which I'm going to get to more in a minute. Now, so when you tip, you have to be mindful of their livelihood. You are making a difference in their life. You are feeding somebody that may be hungry. You really are. In North America, especially, I can't speak for America itself. I can only speak for Canada in North America. But, you know, we tip someone, we tip them. Chances are, you know, a waitress makes really good money. You guys know that in Canada, waitresses make awesome money downtown Toronto and everything. Sometimes they make so much money that they're making more than the average person, you know, and they're not even claiming that a lot. It's a little different. A lot of people get cheap, and you can't be cheap. If someone does this to you on the beach, that means they're calling you cheap and they're calling you out. And they should, by right, if you're not giving a little something off the top. The beers are cheaper here. The liquor is cheaper here. If you are a rum drinker, you're going to get a Cuba Libre. You're going to get a rum and a Coke, okay, for like the most 200 pesos, which is $4. Now, you know, a rum and a Coke is not going to cost like $4 back in America. It's gonna, I don't know how much a rum and a Coke would cost back in America, but I'm only assuming it's gonna be like no less than $9, right? So you want to look at the difference and look at the difference of costs. And yes, you might want to save money here. And yes, you might relish in the fact that things are a little bit cheaper. But especially if you're an expat, every now and again, come on, take a little off the top and just be like, today is my day to tip. And pick a day out of the week, pick 2 days out of the week. I go to mojitos often, and so sometimes I will tip big, and then sometimes I just give, like, you know, the change or whatever. And so it really depends on where I'm at and how often I go, and how, again, one of the comments here, how well I'm served. But I gotta say that the service here in a lot of the restaurants are kind. Once you get to know the people to a store, they just sit behind the counter with attitude, and they're like, yes, you know, what do you want? It's not even about that. It's just a more laid back lifestyle. And it's up to you to say, hola, mi amor, and run a joke with them. I'm always like, hola, mi amor, ¿qué pasa? You know, and they know my Spanish is just, you know, what it is. And so they'll laugh with me. They'll do a little giggle. But then the next time I see them, and this is not all of the service, it's just the ones that are just quiet. We don't know what they're going through that day. We can't expect them to jump on their head and shoot quarters out of their mouth for us when they could be thinking about what they're going to do, how they're going to get home that day, you know, because they're not making enough money, or what they're going to eat when they get home. Because just because they work in a restaurant, it doesn't mean that the owner of the restaurant is giving them that one meal a day. That people don't take things personally if you aren't getting the service that you want. Just try to make it a little bit of joke and stuff like that. And even if they don't liven up the first time you see them, when you go back, they will. And if they don't, you just poke a little bit of fun, have fun. Now, you will most times find that the servers here are very kind, very polite. You can ask them about music, like the difference between bachata and salsa dancing, and you know, little things like that. And you can ask them questions and they will answer. Especially if you know a little bit of Spanish and you want to test your Spanish out. They're very open to speaking Spanish with you. Me, my grammar, sometimes I don't put it in the right spot and everything like that. They appreciate the fact that I try. And especially the ones that have seen me grow here from hola and knowing nothing more to actually speaking sentences now and actually running jokes now. And they're happy for me. Today, when I went back to Los Charamicos, and then when I got back here to Cabarete, I got WhatsApp messages from my friends in in Los Charamicos, and they're like, "Hola, mi amor, hola." You know, I guess they heard word, they got wind that I'm moving back to Los Charamicos, so they're excited for me, right? It's a small place, Los Charamicos, and people will talk and everything like that. But I enjoy that because they're looking forward to me moving back as well. Okay, so how much to pay is really up to you. When to pay is whenever you are served, whenever. Give a little something every time. Even 5 pesos is not a lot, it's 10 cents, but even tip that. Imagine how far that can even go in someone's life. Just don't be cheap, please. And what is cheap? You might be saying, well, what's cheap? Because some of you out there are very kind and you don't want to be cheap when you come. You just want to be fair. Well, once you get a handle on the money, once you understand about the exchange, some of you guys might be like me. When I first got here, I didn't even know what 1,000 pesos was. I didn't realize it's like almost 20 bucks American. I didn't know that 500 pesos was 10 bucks. I didn't know that 200 pesos was 4 bucks. I didn't know that 100 pesos, did I just say 100 pesos? It's 2 bucks. 50 pesos is $1, right? I didn't know that. And that is what you're going to get here. You're going to get 2,000 pesos, which is like 40 bucks. You're going to get 1,000 pesos, which is like 20 bucks. I'm just going to repeat it again. 500 pesos, which is 10 bucks. And then 200 pesos, which is 4 bucks. I think I just said that. And then 100 pesos. And then 50 pesos. Okay, you get the gist of what I'm saying. So there's only certain bills here anyway. And once you learn about the money and the conversion and you're not counting every dollar and everything like that, $2 tip every time. Stick with the 100 pesos if that's what makes you feel good. Go around with a pocket full of 100 pesos. A lot of people do that. I know a lot of you, even if you are not buying anything, you're not a drinker, but you're just going to the beach to enjoy the beach. You bring your own bottle water with you, and you bring your own packed sandwich or your own packed lunch, and that's what you eat on the beach as you're chilling. And I know some of you guys will, if someone goes by, you'll give someone 100 pesos. And I've seen that a lot, and you'll be like, no, I really don't want this today. Like someone may come up to you, let me give you an example, and want to sell popcorn to you, or maybe a boiled egg, and maybe you're not a popcorn eater, and maybe you don't want to eat the boiled egg, but they're working very hard, and pastelitos are very good. I actually have a pastelito here right now, if you're just not into what is being offered on the streets, at least buy something for someone else. Buy an avocado, buy some fruits, some bananas, or go into one of the shops and buy something. It's really important to stimulate the economy, and that's what I'm trying to get across right now. It's so important to stimulate the economy here, and everyone will work hard for you. I'm not saying you have to buy your friends. Now, I've spoken about this before, and I want to speak about it again. I don't buy my friends here, but I do treat my friends kind. Like when I go out with Elsa, I will pay for everything. She tries to sometimes take money out of her pocket, treat me and stuff like that. Or when I was, hanging out at her cafeteria. Oh, side note, this is the last month, I think in 2 days from now, it will be the last month that she actually has her cafeteria, and that she's not going to be working in the cafeteria any longer. So I send special prayers to her, because she was the owner of the cafeteria, and now the owner wants to take some houses. So I'm going to look for a job for her as well. And anybody that I know that is has any type of a business or anything, I'm going to give her a shout and stuff like that. She cleans homes very well, so if you're looking for someone to clean your home, please get at me. I would love to get her something. Okay, so back to what I was talking about. I'd be in her cafeteria sometimes, and she would want to give me a free drink, and I would say no. Or one thing she would always do is the food that people ate, and bones and food that they didn't want any longer or whatever, she would I have my hair up in a ponytail today. She would save it for noche, right? And I would be like, oh my gosh, like, so this is the type of stuff where Dominicans give back what they can. Even if they can't drink out at a bar or something, or even a meal, they always give back somehow, some way. And there was one vlogger that I was watching a video about the other day. Well, I wasn't really watching the video, but the information came to me. And I went on the video quickly just to kind of check it out. And he was saying, be careful of Dominicans. If you have a Dominican woman and she invites you to her house and all her family is there, be careful. That's not true at all. You should be the type of person that you should be fortunate to be invited to her house, to know who her family is, to get into their home, their private home. I'm gonna let that pass. Let me just see these questions first before I go on. MG, 16 viewers watching now. Smash the like button, guys. Ah, yes, I always forget to say that. Smash that like button. Gendery, it is only 50 pesos on public car and taxi is 600 pesos or 500 pesos. Gendery, I know you are Dominican and everything, but you can get it for 500 pesos. Here, let's see, Douglas Anderson, I try to cook or have a friend cook. That way I don't have to patronize the fancy restaurants with their overpriced food. I will buy food from the Dominican restaurants that don't charge you taxes. And Daryl says $10. You tip $10 every time you go out? That's 500 pesos. It's not bad. That's nice. Okay, Lucas says, do men say mi amor to only women in the Dominican Republic? Ooh, fabulous question. Well, women say mi amor to women and men. Men say it to women only. The Dominican men here, they are loving towards each other. Like, I've never seen a fight in the street yet. Unless I've seen it like on here in the Dominican Republic where I've been, Cabarete all the way to Sosua, Sabaneta, Gaspar Hernandez, Puerto Plata. I hear the men come, amigo, muchacho, words of that nature. Muchacho is like, guy type of thing, or chico. Chico I don't really hear often, but I hear chica more than chico. I hear muchacho more than anything, or hermano, I hear brother. Most times, hands down, brother, and they will even call someone brother even if they don't know them. So it's not like they're like, yo bro, what's up bro, and all that stuff. They don't even have to be friends, right? Even know each other. They're always friendly with each other, I feel. Okay, let me see another question. Boom boom Montel, thank you for your message today. Contribution. Hello Cerise and everyone on this channel. Great subject. As always, not trying to offend anyone, but let's tip Cerise regularly for great works. Aw, thank you. They include tips in their bills. So if you tip separately, you are actually double tipping, especially 15% tax on the beach. And I didn't know that. And I was like, whoa, like it is 100% correct there, guys. Watch your bill. And you have had, let me see, have you had any casual experiences with American men? What does casual experiences mean? Like, you mean like an encounter? Or like Jada Pinkett Smith would say, an entanglement? I had to say that. I'll get back to that question in a second. It's a good question, but American men. Okay, I'll get back to that. I'll remember, and if I don't, remind me. So I just want to get to, should you pay your friends to be your friends? You don't have to. At first, when you first get here, you should definitely pay everyone for what they do for you. Because let me give you an example. The best example I can think of is, okay, you have a friend. Stacy, shouts out to Stacy. Stacy's going to be moving here with her husband, and they're painting their house $1,000 to paint the living room alone. When I heard that, I was like, what? They ended up saying, you know what, they're getting the living room painted, but now me, when I was in Canada and I was painting my house, I would party, guys, and order pizza, order beer, some wine, and wings and wedges, and by the time everything's said and done, you're looking at about what, $150, right? And that is, and you might get your house painted for free, but you're still spending $150 on food, sometimes 200, depending on how many friends are there and how big your house is, right? Alcohol is expensive, food is expensive, right? So here, if you're getting someone to do something for you, you're not necessarily buying them pizza and beer and having a big fiesta. They can easily take that money, and they might not want pizza. They could take that money and buy beans and rice and like la bandera, it's called, beans and rice and salad and chicken or pork, and they can share it with their family. It goes so much further. So they may be painting with you, and you thinking, this is my amigo, mi amiga, and you're feeding them. But meanwhile, what happens when they go home and they have a family that they need to feed, or something like that? And I noticed that a lot of Dominicans as well, they will think about their family who's not eating. They will think about their family who is in dire straits and how they're enjoying life right now, but they will always want to take something back home to their family, I noticed. So sometimes don't think about, oh, well, I bought them food, I bought them beer. They're not animals, okay? Treat them properly. Don't be like, well, I gave them this and they just want a paradise with a beautiful standard of living, paying less for it. You've got to cut off a little bit up off the top for everybody here. They work very hard and they're not out to get you. But if you are cheap and you're constantly taking advantage of them and thinking that buying food for them and alcohol for them is, I have done that. I got to the point now where they're like, no, Cerise, tu mi amiga. And I have to take the money like this and dip it in their pocket and be like, no, take it, please. Especially if I know they have grandchildren or they have children, I force that money in their hand. And even on walking, and I had Noche with me, and a gentleman stopped me and he was like, hey, what kind of dog is this? Blah, 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 blah. And he started to play with Noche, like in a way where I could tell she loved him. He like sat down on the ground. She was licking all over, and I don't even have her lick me, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, she must be thinking mommy doesn't even let me do this. But he loved Noche. And a lot of Dominicans here do love dogs. Big time, hands down. And I love that too, because it just shines out of them when they look at Noche. They ask me, what's her name? How old is she? What breed is she? They're very invested in asking questions about your dog. And I love that. So anyway, this guy was playing with Noche and everything. And then he finished, and then I heard him say to his friend, can his friend buy him a cerveza? And so I handed them, I said, here, I'll buy you a cerveza. And he's like, no, 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 no. And I was like, why? You were just so sweet to my dog. And he said, no, 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 no. I wasn't sweet to your dog for a cerveza. I was sweet to your dog because I love dogs. And I was like, I know, I could tell that you love dogs and you're being genuine, but can I buy you a cerveza, please? And he said, next time. And I just like, I was like, well, when am I going to see you again? Like, you don't even know Noche. Noche doesn't even know you, and like, or me. Like, he doesn't even know me. You have to. And I said, but if I don't buy it for you, I'm going to feel a little bit like, why didn't I? After I walk away. And he was like, okay, people, but you should feel like you want to, and that's basically the nutshell of it all. You don't need to pay your friends. You should in the beginning. You should pay everyone for something here in the beginning, especially if you're like new here and you need to walk down the street and you're looking for, pay for information 100%, because it's that information that's going to make your stay more comfortable here. And especially if you're going to be an expat on the beach, word spreads very quickly, and there are going to be times where some people may lose respect for you. It happened to me one time. And now the girl and I are close. It's a funny story. I'll just say it quickly. She's Haitian. And so when I first got here and I was like at flip flop and everything, she would walk up the stairs and she never sold anything. She would just have her hand out because she, if I say what she looks like, people will know who I'm talking about. And okay, I'm just going to say it. You know, I like to be confidential, but I'm just going to say it anyway because a lot of you guys who are watching this will know who she is. And you might be proud of her like I am now as well. So she has like one eye. I don't know if it's blind or what. Open and say she's hungry. And it's almost like an intimidating scare factor because she knows that her eye does look a little different. So at first I felt for her when I first got here, and so I would always tip her. But then there's other people, Dominicans and Haitians, who are selling things and working for their money. And so after I started to really get the vibe of stuff, I'm like, I'm not gonna give her any money when I see people actually carrying heavy tubs of avocado and bananas and mangoes and everything on their head to the point where it's even difficult for them to take it off their head. I'd rather pay them, right? So one day, Pedro Clasante, and she came up to me. I was talking to like three men, and she came up and she said, mi amiga, mi amiga. And I kissed her and I hugged her like normal. And she said, oh, she hungry. And I said, okay, well, give me a moment. I'm talking to my friends right now. And she didn't like that. Literally nudged me out of the way and said to the guy, put her hand across and went right up in his face and did it. And he was like, whoa, whoa. Now he was a cheap guy. I forget the name for cheap right now. I think it's called Takara. Gender, are you still on here, sweetheart? Can you let me know what the name is? Oh, wait. Don't forget the beggar at the grocery store. Just be. What grocery store? I don't know which grocery store. Where are the beggars? I don't know any beggars in front of Singapore or in front of Playero. Fill me in, Just be. And line, compadre. Yes, they call each other compadre. Compadre is very, very common word, buddy. David Rich in the house. So glad I made it to the live. A little late, but oh well. I just got on, sweetheart, so it's all right. You guys hit that like button. Jody, ah ha 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 ha. And Russell Rush. Blessings, Cerise from the Bronx. I love you. Thank you. And Barato. Lean said barato. ¿Qué es barato? Barato means cheap. Oh, barato is cheap. But there's another word for it. I don't know what. But so she was like being very aggressive. So I said to her, and she went to my friend, like to the one guy, and the one guy was like, whoa. He was kind of like taken aback. And the other guy was just like, no, no. He was about to get rude to her. And then the other guy looked at me as if to say, get rid of her. Right? And I was just like, whoa, these guys are being kind of cold. But at the same time, I can see they don't want to be pestered and bothered. And they can also see the way she just went right by me and nudged me. So they felt it was kind of rude. And then I said to her, mi amor, no ahora. Like, my love, not now. And she looked at me like, and I was like, gee. And she said, tu no mi amiga. Like, you are not my friend. And she turned around like this and she walked down the street. And she stopped talking to me for probably about 2 weeks. And I was like, oh my gosh, I felt so offended, right? Because she would walk by me and she'd go, it's just a snob, right? So I did it back. Right? I know 2 wrongs don't make a right, but hola mi amor. And she'd be like, and she knows that I like her, like, you know, so then I gave her the same attitude back and I stopped saying hi. Clearly. I mean, I wasn't rude to her or anything, but I just stopped saying hi. And then one day, like after about probably the 3rd time of me not saying hi, she actually was like, Cerise isn't saying hi any longer. Like, wow, this gringa has attitude, you know? So then she stopped and she looked at me and she said, can I have some change? Now, I gave her the change, but I only had 25 pesos, 35 pesos on me. That's like 50 cents, 60 cents, right? And so I gave it to her, and she looked at it, and she looked like she held her hand like this, and she looked at it, and then she looked back at me, and she handed the money back to me. So I took it. I took it right out of her hand, and she's like, and I said, no, that's my money. It's not yours, and you want to give it back to me because it's not enough? No, I took it back. And then she's like, okay, 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 okay. And I said, no, you see me in the street and you hail me up and you ask me for something, it doesn't matter if it's 1 peso. You need to respect what you're getting from anyone. And she was like, oh, mi amor, is she hungry? And I said, I don't care. I don't care. And I stuck up for myself, right? And so I guess, kinda. And then the next time I had seen her, she gave me a little attitude again, but then she came right back and she looked at me and I said, are you gonna be happy with whatever I give you? Sí, yo feliz. And I said, okay, let's see, I'll be happy. And I said, okay. And I gave her 50 pesos, which is $1, right? I gave her 50 pesos. But she's not able to really do what some of the women do here, right? She's you know, she most times has to beg. So the other day I saw her walking with money, nuts. So she's selling and begging. So those of you who know who I'm talking about, she's actually selling stuff now. She's working. And when I saw her like walk down the street, she had her little bucket with her peanuts in it, and she looked at me like, you know, really happy. And I was like, yeah. And I said, come here, I'll buy them. And of course, I'm like, how much for the peanuts? And she's like, vete 5 pesos para uno. What? 25 pesos for one? And I know I can get 5 for, you know, 100 pesos, right? So her price, but it worked itself out. And, you know, so sometimes you are going to make friends with certain people. Sometimes you're going to develop rapports with other people. Like, she doesn't help me out with anything. She's not a person that I would go to for help, but she does live in Los Charamicos, and so during quarantine I would see her a lot during quarantine as well. And in Los Charamicos she never asked me for a thing. Only on Playa Sosua she does, but that's where she lives, in Los Charamicos, right? So perhaps she didn't want to, you know, poop in her playground type of thing. I don't know. But in Sosua, Playa Sosua is where she used to hassle me. But now we're cool. And every time I see her, I like to break her off a little bit of change. Not only her, there's a few people. So you will develop your favorites here. You will find people who you might have a little falling out with, but then you are friends again. It's a little bit of a different world, but it's an amazing experience once you get in and you understand. So yes, you don't have to pay your friends, but you should think about how far 100 pesos can go here for your Dominican friends. And it's not about paying them, it's about giving them something to help them enjoy their life a little bit. And you will get that back tenfold, especially if you're going to be living here, because you're going to need something here. If you have a vehicle, you're going to need to know where to get it repaired cheaply without getting it, you know, a higher price. A pasola. I'm talking about high ticket items. If you want your house painted, if you need something repaired, you can get it at a very good price just by having friends, and, you know, just by showing that you're not inconsiderate. So it's okay. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Let's look at some of the messages here. MG, totally agree. I had a similar experience on the beach. I was told by a fellow, that I disrespected him. I gave him what I had in my pocket. Yes, and when they do that, like sometimes, you know, they will see that you are, you know, buying drink after drink and food after food, and you're really enjoying yourself, and, you know, and they will say, can they have 100 pesos, 100 pesos, or, you know, whatever. But if you're just giving them change, you have to explain. You don't necessarily have to explain to them, but you can say to them, lo siento mucho, you know, yo tengo no más cambio. Like, I'm very sorry, I have no more change. And, you know, that's just pretty much it. You just keep it real with them. Or if you have change, you just say, like for today, para hoy, like lo siento mucho, yo tengo este dinero para ti, like this money for you. I have this money for you. You have to say to them, if they get nasty with you or whatever, it could be that there's a misunderstanding. It could be that, you know, you just need to talk to them a little bit more. I have seen some people give change to some people on the beach, and they're like, oh my gosh, here, and they like throw the money at them, or, you know, they're rude. And don't be rude, because those people, those same people that you're rude to, chances are you're going to need them tomorrow. You're rude to them today, but chances are they're the one that is going to be on the beach or on the street somewhere, and you're going to need to speak to one of them. So again, you tip from your heart, okay? And if you go to the fancy restaurants, as Douglas Anderson was calling it, like a fancy restaurant where things are a little bit more expensive, then look at your taxes. But if you have a favorite server, well, this is what I do, and I don't know how right it is, but I was told that it might not be fair to the other workers and stuff like that. But there's one of these restaurants that I go to. I'll just say the name, Goddess Lounge, and they share their tips. They share. So when I found that out, I said to one of the women that works there, and she was like awesome during quarantine. I said to her, you know, like behind the scenes, I'm not going to say her name because I don't want her to get in trouble or anything, but behind the scenes, I was like, come here for a second. And she came over, and I folded up a little bill, and I put it in her, like, you got a garbage over here? And she looked at me like, look, right? I said to her, you got a garbage over there, like behind there? She said, yes. And she took it. She thought it was garbage. And I said, Mira, like, look. And she looked, and she went, oh, thank you. And she put that in her purse right away. Like, you know, and she needed it. So sometimes if you do have a favorite server and they're sharing tips, which is very common all around the world, and the tips are not for them, then you might want to break them off a little, the meal or something. Sometimes it just makes sense to give them a little something. You don't have to do it every time, but, you know, do it sometimes, right? And once you do it once, again, you don't have to do it every time, but one time is so, like, I would give like just a tip, right? And the next time I go back, they're like, oh, come here, I have this table here for you. They know what my favorite table is, they know what my favorite meal is, they know what my favorite drink is, you know, and they're not trying to get another tip. They're trying to pay me the respect from the last tip, right? So sometimes a lot of people will say, oh, they're just being sweet like that because they're trying to get more money. No, it could be that they're trying to pay you back for last time because you don't know what they did with that money or how much they needed it. So we always have to be mindful, especially when it comes to tipping, and also our friends, and especially if we are chilling with a Dominican family. Of course, we're going to go and take food. I didn't even like the comment that vlogger said. He said, oh, don't go to her house because you'll have to feed the whole family. What? You know how cheap it is to feed a whole family? Why wouldn't you want to? Why wouldn't you want to? How dare him? When I heard that, you know, the other day I went to a birthday. There was no one else going. He invited a whole bunch of people. No one else went. And he told me, he said, don't worry. And even his friend was supposed to go. His friend and his friend's wife was supposed to go. I'm not calling you guys out if you guys are watching this. I'm not trying to say anything negative about you. You know who you are, but I'm giving you the background of the information here. So the night before, my ex said, I don't think they're coming. And I said, why? And he's like, I don't know. Maybe they think they have to pay for the sancocho. And I said, that could be because a lot of foreigners are like, oh no, don't go because then you have to pay for all the food. Like if they invite you to a birthday party, you have to buy everything. Like this is a common comment that I hear. A lot of people will be like, oh, they'll invite you to a birthday party. Meanwhile, they don't have anything for the birthday party. Maybe not, but why wouldn't you want to buy a cake for them? It's so cheap. Why wouldn't you want to buy a little ice cream and, you know, a little bit of food? Why wouldn't you? I mean, they're not going to, hike the prices up for you. If anything, they're gonna get you rock bottom prices. They're gonna get that chicken from a farm. They're not gonna go to Playero. They're gonna go to their neighbor. And so what you're doing is you're stimulating the economy by not only helping to feed them, but you're also stimulating the business next door that has chickens and stuff of that nature, if you feel where I'm coming from. So, back to the party, I said to him, friend said he's not going. So I said, and the friend said to him, he doesn't have any money and he doesn't like to walk with money. Now we both know that's a lie. These are expats. They're living here. They work here. They have an income. $20 in their pocket to go to Sabaneta is nothing, right? For someone's birthday. But at the same time, they treat him good. I was on the beach about 2 weeks ago with them, and I saw the guy hand my ex 1,000 pesos. And he's like, oh, can you pay my bill for me? But I knew that he was just giving it to him in front of people and pretending that it was for his bill, right? But he was just giving him a gift. And my ex was like, oh yeah, no problem. And he took the 1,000 pesos left. So that was really nice. But when the guy said to him he has no money, and that was his excuse for not going to the party, my ex caught on quickly, and my ex was like, well, what do you think I should do about it? And I said, well, if you like, I can help you write a text message to him, and like WhatsApp message, and you can just write it and say, I just want to let you know, I want to remind you that you're not paying for anything at all. This is because you're my friend, and I want to invite you because for him. And the guy got back to him and said, is Cerise with you right now? Right, you probably knew. I wrote it, right? I tried to write it in like with little mistakes and everything like that, right? But I wrote a big long message for my ex and like for this guy saying, you're my friend, and this is important. I would like you to come, type of thing. The guy still didn't go, but that's fine. But when I got there to Sabaneta, the party was in Sabaneta, about 10 minutes away from here, 12 minutes away from Cabarete. And when I got to the party, there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 of us. Sorry, I'm just kind of looking around, trying to remember everyone. 11 of us. And my ex had a bottle of wine, red wine, and I thought that was sweet because, he knows that I like red wine, and he now likes red wine as well, apparently. So he had a small bottle of red wine, and he said to me, this is for us, Cerise. And I was like, oh, thank you, And so I noticed that nobody else was really drinking. And so I was like, well, why don't I send someone to the store and get them to get some beer, and 1,000 pesos bought like, I don't know, maybe about 8 large beers. But with that many people and at a fiesta, it will go around, but why not buy more? So I spent about 3,000 pesos that day, $60. And a lot of alcohol, a lot of food, everybody enjoyed themselves. And when you really think about it, in Canada, $60 on one night out would be for one person, not for 11 people, right? So it was my pleasure to be able to do that. And it's not something that I do often. Like, I'm not going to give someone 3,000 pesos, $60 for nothing, but it was his birthday. And it was my pleasure to be able to share that moment and be able to have other people enjoy. And I didn't feel like I was being taken advantage of. Want to do, especially if $60 is going to make everyone party. Like, I mean, you know what I mean? Not everyone party, but you know what I mean? Like, if it's going to go around a lot. In any case, don't be that person, like what is being suggested out there from this vlogger. Please don't be that person. It's an ignorant frame of thinking, and you don't want to do that, okay? Because you are here in this country. Do not put this country down. Do not put the people down. Do not put their lifestyle down. Do not feel like you're being taken advantage of. Give a little and you'll get a little. Not only will you get respect, but you will also get something back. You will be invited to certain parties where they're not going to let you pay for anything, especially at the river on Sunday. You know, they're going to be like, no, especially if there's like a big bottle of rum going around. tu familia, like you're my family here. Mentality. Take on that frame of thought when you are here. Think about sharing, think about giving. Don't think about, oh my gosh, they just want. No, because you're gonna get once you start giving, giving, giving. And I just think that's the fair way to be anywhere around the world. All right, let me see here. Um, oh, thank you, Montel, again. Another contribution. Let's show Cerise some appreciation for her time. Thank you, you guys, for all those likes. Look at all those likes. And thank you, Montel. Let's see, just be ha ha ha, Cerise, not beggars. Tip those who work in the grocery store. Oh, the beggars. Yes. Sorry. Thank you for clarifying that. The beggars, the people who beg, put your stuff in the bags at the grocery store. Guys, there's people here, usually young men, and if you go to Superpola or if you go to Playero, those are the international grocery stores where you're gonna find your international products. Like you're gonna get like asparagus and blue cheese and hair products that you could get in America, North America. So that's where you would go. Now what happens is you're at the cash register, and so they'll have a gentleman, a young man usually, bagging your groceries. And very often I forget to tip them. So thank you for that reminder. You're right. Tip the people who are putting things in the bag for you, because they're not there just to do it for free. They might, even once you get to know them, and they will carry your bags right out to the car for you, or right out to the moto for you. And they'll make sure that they hold your bags until you get into the car or you get in on the moto. And even when you're not at the grocery store and you happen to see them in the street, because Sosua is very small, they probably live in Los Charamicos or somewhere around the area, La Union or something like that. They will see you and they will hail you up, and the more that you help them and you respect them, they respect you as well. So yes, the beggars, not the beggars, but the people who beg your groceries in the grocery store. Think about everyone, especially when you first come here and you are developing a rapport with people over and over again. Sometimes, the other day, I had the TV on and I went to sleep, and on YouTube, and one of my videos came up, like recommended, like it just came up as I was sleeping, and I heard my voice, and I woke up and I looked at the TV, because I don't generally watch my own videos all the time, right? I generally don't, but this was an older video from like 2 years ago, and I saw people in the video that I was just first meeting them, and now I actually know them. And I woke right up out of my sleep, and I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I knew that person for that long. Because when I got here, I met so many people at once that I wasn't able to put faces together. And now I know them, right? And I might not know when I met them, where I met them, but I know them. I know a whole bunch of people here now. But when I was watching that video, I was like, oh my gosh, I saw a few key people who I love and respect right now, and who love and respect me. And the reason why is because we had respect from time, like from 2 years ago. And I was like watching this video, and I got right up into my bed, like sat right up, and I watched it. And it was a pleasure for me to watch how I actually first started to meet them. It was a pleasure for me to be able to say, wow, so that's how I met them. And now when I'm going back to Sosua tomorrow, when I move back to Sosua, Los Charamicos, Sosua, I'm gonna be like seeing those people again. And it's mad love. It's crazy cool. It's just like brothers and sisters, and sisters and sisters, I love it. So those people will see you over and over and over again. Remember you, whether you're kind to them or whether you're rude to them, they will remember you. It's very small. And it's not that people gossip, but it is that people will talk, right? Like they'll be like, oh, that gringo's cheap, right? And they'll say it in front. I don't have that reputation here, but I will hear them because they trust me now, right? And they'll be like, oh, that gringo over there is cheap. And they'll tell me why they think that gringo is cheap, or that gringo, sorry, foreigner or tourist is cheap. They'll tell me, and I'll be like, oh, yeah, and I can see where they're coming from, and they'll be like, yeah, they could have at least given 10 pesos, for this and that and this and that. Like this one guy was talking, he took someone from the one end of the beach at El Bate all the way down to the other end of the beach at Los Charamicos, because Playa Sosua, but one is El Bate and the other one is Los Charamicos, where I'm moving to again. And he walked him all the way down the beach, and the guy didn't even give him anything. Oh, I have another one to tell you guys. And I think this guy is so cheap. I'm not going to say his name, but he owns a restaurant here. And maybe he will hear this video or see this video, and he'll know I'm talking about him. I don't need to call him out. But so I was with my ex at the time. This is like probably about a year and a half ago. And I was with my ex at the time. And my ex and his brother were at my house. They both lived with me. So the guy for the restaurant contacted me, and he said, Cerise, and he told me that his propane is out. And I was like, oh, okay. And he's like, what does he do? And I was like, don't worry about it. I'm going to send my ex, I'm going to send his brother, and they're going to pick up your tank, and they're going to go, fill it up for you, and then they're going to bring it back. And he's like, okay. Now, he didn't even have the tank unscrewed from his stove. So they had to go into his apartment. It wasn't for the restaurant. It was for his apartment. I just said that the guy owns a restaurant because he could have gave a little bit, but let me get to the story. So they're in his house, and they unscrew the propane tank, and they take the propane tank. Now, my ex is on his moto, and his brother sits on the back of the moto with the propane tank and puts it on his lap. They go all the way, supposed to fill it up, 500 pesos at this point. And so they went to the gas station, they filled it up, and they knew that they weren't going, put it this way, when you fill a propane tank, you can see if it's full or not, right? But they weren't going to just put 400 pesos in it instead of 5 and take that 100 pesos for their pocket, because they know I would be lit if that information got back to me. They know that I like to be fair. So they were thinking, this is a foreigner, he owns a restaurant, they don't want to rip him off, most likely he'll tip them a little bit anyway. 100 pesos is really good tip for them to go do that. It costs 100 pesos for motoconcho to go to the gas station for you with. And so you might want to give them 150 pesos or 200 pesos, right? Well, anyway, they went back to this guy's house. They reconnected the propane tank for him, turned on the stove to see that it's working, everything. They showed him everything, and he's like, thank you. And they went, oh, okay, thank you. And they left. And when they got back home to my place, they were talking amongst themselves and everything. And I was like, what's up? I could tell that they were, kind of confused. And my ex said to me, he's like, can you believe the guy didn't even tip 50 pesos? Like, my ex used his own gas as well in his own moto. This guy didn't even pay for gas. He just thought, oh, okay, these guys are going to do it for free. Great. No. Break somebody off a little something if they're doing a favor for you. They may have to go the extra mile to make sure you're happy. So giving them a little something, going that extra mile only makes sense, I think. It only makes sense. So give something. Don't take advantage of people's kindness. And I find that, some of you guys don't know that. I had a woman that came here. I won't say friend. She was an acquaintance that came here from Canada. And I said to her, okay, I was with my ex again at the time. I was with my ex. And so I have a moto concho for you for the 9 days that you're going to be here. And she was like, oh, thank you. So he would go to her Airbnb, pick her up so she could come back and hang out with us during the day and everything. And then, my ex said to me as we were on the beach, he said, is she, and this is after couple of days passed and she didn't give a tip at all. She acted like she was just the queen and she's gonna sit in her Airbnb and he's gonna pick her up and take her back to the beach every day. Some days she wanted her cigarettes and he would go to the store for her with her money, but she wouldn't even tip him. And so I had to speak up to her because my ex said to me, does she not tip? Does she not realize that, you know, his brother is running around for her? And so I said to her, I was like, listen, you know, have you been paying him? And she's like, no. And I said, okay, he's not your man, first of all, and he's not your friend. He's a young man and he is not working right now and he's not a motocontrol driver. He happens to have his own moto and he's at your convenience. He's there for you because of the respect he has for me and his brother. So break him off a little something. And because imagine if you're in Toronto, you would be taking taxi from where her Airbnb was to the beach. Taxi would probably be about $12. And I said to her, it's like taking a taxi, but it's on a moto. And you're not giving him anything, even for his time? Time is something he can never get. I was about it. And then she's like, okay, how much do I give him? I'm like, 200 pesos, 100 pesos to pick you up, and then 100 pesos to take you back to the Airbnb. And she's like, oh, okay. Like 100 pesos is $2. And that would pay for his gas for a good day, right? And then he has $2 to buy himself something to eat or whatever. And that's one of the things she said to me. Well, I bought him food today. That's what she said to me, like trash. And I said to her, doesn't matter if you bought him food. That's your choice to buy him. If you want food or money, he will take the money because he knows he can go spend 50 pesos and go get a little bit of rice and go get a little bit of beans and go get a little bit of chicken. And then he can also have money left if he wants to get himself a cerveza or go halves on a bottle of rum or even have gas the next day for his moto to get around. You know what I'm saying? So she was like, oh, okay. And it's not this, if you want to buy someone a meal, that's fine. But the money goes a lot farther. So I think you should really keep that in mind. A lot of us think, well, if they're hungry. Why wouldn't they? Okay. The prices in the stores and everything are a little bit more expensive in the restaurants on the street. It's different from if they were to go buy the rice and go buy the chicken, because here in the colmado, like I could go downstairs right now, well not right now because it's quarantine, right? But during the day, if I wanted to go downstairs, I could say 50 pesos chicken please, or 50 pesos rice, 25 pesos rice. You know, you can ask for the amount of money that you want, not necessarily a whole package of rice that you have to buy. And so that's where it becomes so convenient for a lot of Dominicans, okay? So I want you guys to keep that in mind. Don't think just because you're being nice to them and buying them food that you're feeding them, okay? Clothing, they love clothing, but they're not just going to want your old dirty running shoes. It's not like Cuba. In Cuba, of course, it's very difficult for them to come buy running shoes and stuff. In Cuba, they don't really have like grocery stores. Everything is rationed out, and they don't really have like in the places that I've been in Cuba, they don't really have like clothing stores per se. But here they do. It's very Americanized. You can go buy like, you know, knock off Armani, knock off Chanel. So don't come down here trying to get rid of some shoes and well, I shouldn't say that. No, I don't want to discourage you. Bring whatever you have because they could put it to use and they could recondition it. So I don't want to discourage you. Bring everything you have that you want to give away. But don't act like it's gold. I had a viewer, come down here and he brought a pair of shoes for my ex and they were pretty ratchet. and he's like, look what I got for you. Look what I got for you. And then he took them out and my ex was like, oh, nice, thank you. And I was like, ooh, like, no, those are worn out at the bottom. The guy didn't even take time to wash off like the outside, and they were Nikes or whatever. They weren't even New Balance or whatever. They were some knockoff shoes that looked like they were going to be torn apart anytime, right? But my ex gave them away. to someone else. So trust me, even if they are all broke up and they're useless to the person that you give them to, they will be able to give them to someone else. So that's why I don't want to discourage you. But at the same time, if you don't see that person wearing the item, chances are they just didn't want it, but they gave it to somebody else who is needy of it as well. So yeah, that's that. And David Rich and I were speaking earlier, and so this is a little bit of a different topic right now. I just wanted to lead into this. And we were talking about the difference between Cabarete and Sosua and why I moved to Cabarete. I didn't have any intentions on moving to Cabarete. I was very happy in Sosua, in Los Charamicos. However, when I came here during quarantine, I was visiting my friend across the street. I saw this place, and that's the reason why I left Los Charamicos. I left Los Charamicos primarily for this apartment. I didn't choose to move to Cabarete for Cabarete. I just want to get that straight. Being in Cabarete and, you know, having people here who I love and friends that I've met and everything like that, it's great. But now that I need to leave this place, oh my gosh, a little bit dizzy right now too, because I have the windows closed so you guys don't hear much. I need to open the window right now. Like all of this humidity and mold, oof. Hold on one second. It's quarantine now, so there's not going to be too much going on in the street, so it shouldn't be too much noise. But as soon as I got word that not word, but realized that living here in this apartment is impossible now, where am I going? Straight back to Sosua. I'm not looking for an apartment in Cabarete. It's not really my flex. Yes, the beach is beautiful at nighttime, and Playa Sosua closes down at nighttime. But how often you go to Sosua, the nightlife offers different things. Like you can bar hop going along Pedro Placente, you can go to Clásicos, you can go to Envy, you can go to Sosua Lights, you can go to Rumba, you can go to, back in the day, El Flow, you know, 8 p.m. Don't mark me on that, but you guys can contact Gregory and ask him. And and even after that, you'll see him up on Pedro Placente enjoying life in the nightlife. So Sosua does have a nightlife. Cabarete has a nightlife on the beach primarily. So they'll have like live bands and stuff like that. But here, but in Sosua, you can also get that. You walk at Plan B, or there's karaoke at Mama Juana's. I'm just calling out a bunch of things. Or there's bingo at Jolly Rogers. I think that's more during the day. But there's a lot of nightlife open on Pedro Placente in Sosua. So if you're really trying to figure out which one is for you between Cabarete and Sosua, it offers everything. And one thing that David and I were talking about is something that a lot of you guys talk to me about, a lot of my viewers. And David said he's a little confused, not confused, but he's a little undecided because he doesn't want to necessarily come here for the women only. He's coming here for the beautiful paradise life. And so, you know, I suggested to him that men are not only coming here for the women. A lot of you guys are coming here for the beautiful beach in Sosua, for the networking in Sosua, just to really enjoy life, lay back on the beautiful daytime beach. I like Sosua Beach during the day more. I love laughter and I love the vibe. Like I can go from one venue to the next and there's gonna be music there, music here, music there, like different songs. Sometimes you'll hear like, you know, look here, Miss Thing, I hate to salt your game, but you's a money-hungry woman and you need to change. In the locker room, all the homies do is laugh, high five, because I played your ass, you know, like some Tupac. And then you'll have like a little bit, the next one you'll hear a little bit of reggae. The next one you'll hear a little bit of, you know, bachata. The next one you hear a little bit of Redman, you know, or maybe even a little bit of 80s music. So Sosua is lit during the day. And it's not only for men that are coming here for women. And there's not only women on the beach looking for men. Mexicans are in Sosua. It is amazing because you'll see they come in all the way from Santiago, sometimes Santo Domingo, and there's big bus loads on Route 5, and everyone's enjoying their life. So I would say the difference between Playa Sosua and Playa Cabarete is really night and day, so to speak, pun intended. So you can travel up in Pedro Plasante and have a very good nightlife in Sosua. Cabarete, I love, but the beach is not so lit during the day. It can get busy on like Friday, Saturday, Sunday with a lot of expats, but some of them are like, it's a mixture of people. Some people are retired, older, French Canadians. Some people are American, you know what I mean, younger guys, and it's more of a mix, right? But not for me, not so lit. I in the daytime on a beach, I want to hear music. I want to get, like all riled up and do a little dancing and stuff like that. And there's a lot more networking on Playa Sosua. So those of you who are coming here to network, there's a lot of it on Playa Sosua during the day. Okay, thank you for hitting that like button, guys. Douglas Anderson should have said, "I'm sorry, let me see that." And if someone else feel disrespected. Okay. I haven't seen you for a while. Avoid making eye contact. There's a good point. If you're walking down the beach, because when you make eye contact, they will ask you for something. I've seen people do that as well. But when you don't make eye contact, it's not a form of disrespect, but it's a form of I don't want to use a negative word because it works for some people, but there's no way that I could do that. I couldn't, because I see people every single day and I am a person that says hello. So I just say straight up, "No hoy, mi amor." Not today, my love. And I'm just straight up with it, and they'll be like, "Oh, come on." I'm like, "Not today. That's it. Tomorrow, when I see you tomorrow." So this one guy, he calls me tomorrow. Every time I see him, he looks at me and says, "Hola, tomorrow." And we have that little joke back and forth. But I have tipped him a couple of times too, when I realized that I did say it too much to him tomorrow. Like he would be like, "Come into my store." And I'm like, "Oh, tomorrow, not today," stuff like that. So yeah, for me, I make eye contact all the time with everyone, but it is true. If you are a person that's not straightforward and you don't feel comfortable saying what I say, and just keeping it real with them, and you just, you don't want to be bothered, then kind of like look expat, and you're on the beach every day and you're mingling with everyone. There's no way that you're going to get away. And you're right, in the beginning, if you feel like, they have something and you kind of look, you don't want to make eye contact, fine. And sometimes they're selling something, and the reason why eye contact is so important, because you can look at them and go, and you're telling them that you want it, right? Because there's little movements and facial movements. Like, for instance, I learned here, when they go like that, can you guys see my nose? Right, that means repeat what you just said. So, like for instance, if you see that and you're talking to a Dominican, Dominicans, I've never seen a Haitian do it, but Dominicans, they'll look at you and go, like, their nose will move, and that means repeat yourself, right? So same thing with eye contact. When you look at them, you're interested, so bring it here, come here, and bring what you got. So yes, that eye contact can be a little like an invitation to buy something, but at the same time, you can wink your eye when you look at them, or make eye contact and smile, right? When you make eye contact like this, they might be like, "Okay, you want something?" And they want to sell you something. So when you do make that eye contact, smile and just say, "Oh, no gracias, no hoy, mi amor." Or no, if you're a guy and you're talking to a guy, "No gracias, mi amigo, no hoy." Something like that, right? Just keep it real. But if you don't want to be confronted, then not for very long. Like, you're not going to get away with it for very long if you're living here. Because, and you shouldn't want to get away with it for very long. You should want to make eye contact with every single person you walk by, because it's respect, but also they also know that you are not just kind of turning from them, because they know when you're not making eye contact with them, you are saying no. They know that. But at least they get to know what you like and what you don't like. So for instance, if you say no, 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 oi, right, then they're like, okay, whatever. And if they step to you and they're trying to force it on you, you just got to say to them, mi amor, no, no, either. But it works sometimes. So yeah, but again, if you're not a confrontational person, or if you're not, like, you just don't want to, say no because you feel bad saying no, then yes, Ken is right. You do want to say, like, just kind of look away. But again, it's not going to work for you for very long if you are an expat here. You do have to come up with something else that's going to work for you, and just keep it real. Treat people like you want to be treated. You got it, Line. I don't know if I should call you Line or Lene, because if it's Spanish, it's, if I'm mistaken. But you said, yes, treat people the way you want to be treated. Absolutely. And boom, boom. Oh, Mattel, another contribution. Okay, everybody, Cerise has a big move coming up soon. Let's help her out with some value for giving us value. Thank you. But I do want to say one thing. Holy smoly macaroni. I don't even have to. Tomorrow, there's no money coming out of my pocket. Well, $150 coming out of my pocket from my rent, because I don't have to pay deposit. My landlords already know I'm good for an apartment, because I work with them, and rent out their other apartments. And on top of that, tomorrow, the landlord for here, he's in New York, shouts out to him. He messaged me a big apology today, a big apology. And he said, Cerise, I'm so sorry that you're going through what you're going through in my apartment. This is my first time ever being a landlord, and I'm learning a lot of valuable lessons. Oh my gosh, if I didn't have this phone on, because this is where he left me the message on WhatsApp, only 28 years old, Dominican born, but he was like, so don't worry about it, please. And then even the manager of the house contacted me and said, I'm going to be coming with you, like, to say that we gave you the money. And then he said, when you're all moved out, I'm going to look around the apartment to make sure everything is still there and it's intact. And I was like, all right, no worries, but I'm going to be cleaning Wednesday. And he said to me, no, you don't need to clean it, just please. And I'm like, no, I'm going to clean it, because when I moved in, it was clean, right? And just a little, after you move, there's going to be dust, and you know how moving is. When you go back in, you have to clean it. And so he said, no, don't do that, it's okay. And I said, no, I will. So I'm going to hire someone well, actually, I made already a deal. That big fridge in the background over here, I'm not taking it with me. So I'm going to give it to Joelle's mother, and Joelle's mother is going to clean the house. So, a fridge is a huge commodity, and it's a good fridge, and I bought it. It's a Whirlpool fridge. It's beautiful, and I bought it, and it does meet very well. So she's going to come in and clean for a fridge. You see, like, not necessarily money is getting transferred, but, and if I was to give her money to clean, it would be like 700 pesos, $14. That's her going rate, but I would give her 1,000 pesos, which is like $20. And I feel a lot more comfortable giving her something valuable. I may never see her again, right? Because him and I are not together, and I'm moving to Sosua, and I doubt so I want to make sure that, and her and I had some good times together too. A couple of nights we went out, just her and me, and we enjoyed ourselves. So yeah, the manager told me I didn't have to clean, but I do want to clean it up. So that was really good. And just to kind of go back into it, so the money that I'm getting from my deposit, I'm just going to pay that towards my rent, and I only have to pay an extra $150, and that's like gravy, right? So that is so beautiful. So a lot of you guys out there that think that, oh, gringo prices, or oh, you're going to get ripped off. No, not at all. They've kept it real with me, and even all the way from New York. So shouts out. Okay, let me see here. MG, $5 contribution. Thank you. You guys, you know, thank you. Wow, thank you. Glasses. I'm definitely going to use those dollars for something. My new apartment has everything, so I need nothing, but I'll put, you know what, I'll put it towards my rent. And let's see here, DR up above. I still don't understand why most foreigners think that all of us Dominicans are after their money. I just hope my people stop. Everything we give comes from our hearts. I gotta tell you, every single thing that I can't even explain it. I don't have the words right now, but I've never experienced this in Canada. And that's why I'm happy here. It's my new home. And that's why when I even think about going to Canada, even now with my health concern, I'm like, I'm not going back to Canada. Canada has free health care. If I was to fly into Canada today, I would get free healthcare, no problem, like everything, operation and everything, especially for something like this. I would get free mammogram, I would get everything, but I don't want to go back to Canada. And I do know that it's because, and I love the way I'm treated, and I love the atmosphere. And Dominicans, one day a Dominican said that, he was a little bit embarrassed of his Dominican people. And I was like, why are you embarrassed? And I'm always quick. When a Dominican talks bad about a Dominican, I'm always quick to correct that Dominican. Because I'm always like, no, please, you might have a skewed mentality about what the world is outside of here. Because outside of here, it's completely different. Here, your people are amazing. Like look where I live right now in Cabarete. So anyway, this guy said he was embarrassed of his people, and I was like, don't be. And that's why DR up and above right now, when you just said, you don't know why foreigners think you guys want to take it, Dominicans want to take advantage of them kind of thing. I'm glad you're speaking up for your people. It's not that you're speaking against foreigners. You're not speaking against foreigners. What you're saying is that's not always so. And there are a lot of foreigners who feel that. And there are a lot of foreigners that come down here and they're afraid to get the gringa price. And that doesn't really apply. Like, if you're like getting something on the street, like, I don't know, like food or whatever on the street, like they may charge you a couple of cents more, but that's because you can break it off. Like, but they're not gonna, if you're buying a la bandera, like you're buying chicken, rice, and beans and salad and it's usually like pesos, they're gonna charge you what it is. But if it's like I don't even know how to give an example. Like, moto concho. Moto conchos, if they are taking you around the city, like around Sosua, they may charge you 100 pesos as opposed to 50 pesos, right? And that makes sense. But a lot of foreigners will be like, oh my gosh, a moto concho charged 100 pesos from Los Charamicos to Albate. That's how much it costs, just because Albate and Sosua, Albate and Los Charamicos are close. They're still risking their life on Highway 5, which is very busy at that section. And if you don't want to pay that 100 pesos, then walk on the beach. That's it. Don't complain. They're not ripping you off. But in Sosua itself, Sosua Center, most times it's 50 pesos, but that's a buck. Really, think about it. And then think about your life in America or Canada. And I only say America and Canada all the time because I'm from North America, but Italy, Africa, India, shouts out to India because a lot of people from India have been wanting to come here. You guys don't have an embassy in a Dominican Republic embassy in India, and a lot of you guys actually want to come here and get your residencia. So, my gosh, you're so welcome. Please come. And a lot of you guys want to come and invest in stores and hotels. So India, mwah, big love to you. Okay, let me look at some of these comments here. Nathan B. Many Dominicans just look at foreigners like ATM machines. Let's be honest. Um, they are aware of the economic advantage walking bank machine. They just know that a lot of foreigners spend a lot more money, and that's that. And they're thinking, if you're going into a bar and getting drunk, you know, and spending money after money after money on beer, why wouldn't you want to feed someone? Why wouldn't you? When you say ATM machine, no, they're not asking for 1,000 pesos. That's an ATM machine. They're not asking for 50 bucks. They're not asking for 20 bucks. They're asking for 100 pesos, 100 pesos. That's nothing. That's like water back in a bottle back home. That's nothing. So no, they're not. And I can get Nathan, I can understand what you mean though, because you might be going down the street, Pedro Clasante, one person will ask, another person will ask, another person will ask, and so many people will ask because they don't know that you just gave a 100 pesos up the street. They don't know. So all you have to say is, lo siento mucho, mi cambio is arriba, like up the street. Like, you know, my change is, gave it to someone already. That's all. Be real with people. But no, they're not, do not be misconceived, guys. They're not asking for 1,000 pesos at all. They're not asking for 20 bucks. They're not asking for 5 bucks. They're not asking for much. But you might get asked a lot, and that's up to you to be able to communicate with people and say, not today. Or lo siento mucho, I'm very sorry, you know, and be respectful. And I think that is, will get you respect as well, right? So there's a comment that I heard I hear it a lot here. What is the comment? What is that comment? Joe no stupido, Joe gringo, pero yo no stupido. I hear a lot of men say that here. Joe gringo, pero yo no stupido. And it's like, yeah, you are stupido. Sorry, like you are. You're living in someone's country here and you're not going to break them off 50 pesos? What are you doing? What's going to happen when you're down and out? What's going to happen when you need something? Because all of us need something in life, whether it's here or whether it's in our own world where we come from. But when you're here, you are learning, you're a baby, you know, even just the smallest, tiniest thing. And so when you say, Joe gringo, pero yo no stupido, you sound idiotic to me. Because I'm like, who are you? You're here living so cheaply, paying cheap rent. And it doesn't mean that the money you're saving needs to be spent out in the streets so freely, but it does mean that you should share a little bit and stop those little comments. They're not necessary. And some of you guys even say it right straight to the faces of Dominicans. You'll look them in their eyes and you'll be like, I'm not an ATM. They didn't ask if you're an ATM. Sorry, Nathan, I'm not putting you down. Your comment, I'm just trying to clarify it for people because I hear that all the time as well. And the people will say that to Dominicans straight out on the street. I'm not an ATM. And their whole face looks like it's all screwed up and everything. And the Dominican looks at them like, I'm not asking you for your bank card. They won't say that to the foreigner. Most times the Dominican will just be quiet. They won't fight you. They won't argue with you. They'll just be like, okay. Some might say, oh, come on, you know, and try to run a little joke with you and stuff like that. But most times, they'll just be quiet, you know, and they will, okay. But you don't need to be mean to them and tell them what you are or tell them what you're not. I mean, you just say no hoy, mi amor, or no hoy, mi amigo. Not today. And just keep it moving. I think that's the most polite thing and then the most logical thing as well. Douglas Anderson, up above Nathan, just like any other country, pal. Yeah, you know, there are so many homeless people in downtown Toronto. And you know, when they are hungry for something, they ask for it. And there's a lot of people who are homeless on the street in downtown Toronto, sleeping on the street. A lot of mental illness as well. I don't see that here. I see one woman sleeping on the streets in Sosua, and a lot of you guys, she has mental illness, and mental illness, you can see it. She, she talks to herself often. She has like dreads. She's a fair-skinned woman, and she has she's like mulatto, and she has dreads, and she's usually sleeping. She used to sleep down by the end of Pedro Clasante, and then you turn, not going towards the beach, but turn the other way. She used to sleep there. But now she's sleeping over a little bit across from Papatera. You'll see her there. And she just sits down all day, and she just talks to herself all day. She's the only person that I see sleep on the streets here, right? In downtown Toronto, you would see everyone sleeping on the streets, pretty much downtown Toronto, people, a lot. And there are a lot of beggars downtown Toronto, and they're alcoholics, they're crack addicts, and they're not trying to work for anything. Okay, and I'm not putting that, you don't really see that a lot here. Chances are that person's going to be in their home, in their casa, with their parents. Often, I saw one guy in Los Charamicos who is a little off, right? But he had what they call a lobotomy. He was very violent because he was doing a lot of drugs back in the day, and he was very violent, and he was hitting his bum, and so his mom took him to the hospital, and they gave him like a lobotomy of some sort, and now he just walks in the streets, and he's very calm, and he's very cool. He still has emotions. I saw him crying one day. He was just walking and crying, and but I don't see anyone else, even in Los Charamicos, sleeping on the streets. So that's one thing I have to say here. Families stick together. So if somebody does ask you for something, they're not asking you for 1,000 pesos. They're not asking you for like 20 bucks, 50 bucks. They're asking you for something that costs the same price as a beer that's going to poison your body. This is water, by the way, guys. I just keep holding it up because it's a bottle. But they're going to be like asking you for something that you're poisoning your body with anyway. A cigar costs so much more than to feed a family. So yeah, you should go out every single day with the intention of giving away at least 200 pesos, and that's not a lot of money. That's $4, right? Go out with the intention of at least that is automatically. I don't say in my head, okay, I'm going to take out money today, and this is going to be for donations or whatever to people on the street, charity, or no, I don't do that. But look, right now, you guys are so freely just giving it forward. Always pay something forward. Okay, guys, because what goes around comes around, and you're going to need a lot of these people here, especially if you're moving here. And I know a lot of my viewers are moving here, even if it's only for a month or a year, and it's not even going to be permanently. You're going to need these people. You'll meet them today, and you may not remember them, but then you'll remember them 3 weeks from now because they will remind you of it. Please do not be discouraged from anything here. It is. Foreigners rip people off a lot more here. I'll be honest with you on that. That I can get you guys really cheap prices with Dominican landlords. The other day, and I'm still a little bit upset about that, the other day, $1,000 a month for it. Doesn't make sense to me how they're going to charge $3,000 a month for it. I'm not talking to him now. I don't even want to do any more business with him. He asked me to go do a couple of more videos of his other places, and he didn't even offer me my $50 fee to go video. You know what I mean? When I video Dominican places, I do it for free. I don't take any money from Dominicans at all. And that's another thing. I want businesses in Sosua or businesses in Cabarete, Sabaneta, Gaspar Hernandez, Puerto Plata, Montellano. I will make the trip, and I will pay for my own gasoline. I will take my own motoconcho. You guys don't have to do anything. I will sit down. I will bring my own translator if the person feels like my Spanish is not good enough for them to understand businesses. And because this is where my heart is. Okay, foreigners that are coming. There's people charging out the butt for apartments that aren't even worth it just because they're foreigners and they bought something here and they want something as passive income. Now they all want to sell it. A lot of people are desperate. A lot of foreigners are desperate. They need to sell their properties. Why? Because their properties are getting rented out. Dominicans, when I go to them and they're landlords and I talk to them about renting their place out, the first thing they say to me is, thank you. thank you. Why are you doing this? Like, they're shocked. And I'm like, because this is your country, you need to benefit as well. And I know people who are willing to be in your place. They'll pay for their own internet. They'll pay for their own hot water. Because if you guys are going to stay there for a very long time and you have cheap rent, then you can invest a little bit in your in getting internet instead of paying way more in a foreigner Airbnb. And I'm not putting down foreigner Airbnbs because I do film a lot of them too. But a lot of you guys are fair. Some are not. When it gets to $3,000 for a beachfront property right here in Cabarete across from Jeanette's Supermercado, 3,000? Oh, please. Please. No Dominican would charge that. They wouldn't even think about charging that, okay? So when you really want to talk about gringo and gringo prices and everything like that, it can be broken down when you look at the large ticket items. And especially when you take your car to go get fixed, you can get a transmission here for $400. And in Canada, you might as well just change and get a new car. Transmission is just like the engine blown. But here they will fix it and it will be cheap. You see what I'm saying? So yes, it's a huge difference than what you guys are being taught around the world. And I just want to correct it because I've been here and I can speak now on what I've learned and what my experiences are. And get the whole gringo price out of your head, the whole gringo price out of your head. Don't come here paranoid thinking that they're going to want to take all your dollars. They're never going to ask you for 1,000 pesos unless, of course, you are dealing with some like prostitution and drugs. I can't talk on that matter because you might want to buy something that on certain things, and that's just that world. Around the world is the same way, not just here. But aside from that, I'm talking about normal everyday items. Don't be afraid, please. Make friends. Come with faith, not with fear. And know your dollar before you get here. Know your pesos. Like I have a video about pesos. And sometimes 200 pesos because it has a red color to it, and 1,000 pesos has a red color to it. So you might make a mistake and give them 1,000 pesos, but they're not going to tell you about your mistake. Why would they? Why would we? If we're in a grocery store in North America and they ring up our price differently, an IKEA commercial where she's like, start the car, right? So it's the same. So, I think don't be paranoid. These people are beautiful and they're not going to ask you for more than what they think you can afford. Again, if you're being bombarded a lot as you're going down the street, in time you won't be. Like if you're here for 1 week, it might be overkill for you. You're going to have to come up with your own way of dealing with it. But if you're here for 1 month, eventually they get to know you. They don't look at you as a tourist any longer. They look at you as a regular and they say hi to you. They're like, hey, hola. And that's it. They're not going to keep bombarding you every single day. But when you're brand new, they know you're brand new. And because it's a small town, Sosua, that's it. Don't say, Joe Gringo, Joe no stupido, or, whatever, all these little comments that people make that are so unnecessary. My gosh, like if you were, consider the Dominican Republic someone's home, like someone's house. If you go into someone's house, and you show up at a party and you don't bring your own bottle or you don't bring your own food or like potluck or whatever, and then they say to you, do you have anything? You're not going to look at them and be like, oh, Joe Gringo, pero Joe no stupido. No, you'll say to them, oh no, I didn't bring anything, sorry, I don't have anything right now. Same way you do on the street here. That's all. Just keep it real and keep it respectful. Because you will get a lot more friends and you'll get a lot more respect. Let's see here. Randor. Hola, Santo Domingo en la casa. Nathan B, DR up above. I lived in Colombia, Mexico, and DR is the most money hungry. Well, yeah. Mexico is Americanized, and it's just pretty much in America as far as I know, like below it. And Colombia is a different animal, and you cannot compare all because they're Latin countries, right? That's like, come on. Like, I know that's a large exaggeration, but you can't compare countries. There's different cultures, there's different customs, and there's different economical standards going on. So it doesn't matter where you live, Nathan. It matters where you are, right? Like that old saying, doesn't matter where you come from, it matters where you are right now, right? So if you find that they're more money hungry here, then that should tell you that there's a different economy going on. And especially if you're spending most of your time in Sosua. That's another thing, guys. Sosua is a tourist town. Cabarete is a tourist town. Okay? If you go into the hood here in Cabarete, Callejon de la Loma, chances are no one's going to bother you. You go into Los Charamicos, chances are no one's going to bother you. They're not tourist areas. Sosua Albate is a tourist area. And they will beg for you to give them money sometimes, and sometimes they will work for you to give them money. A lot of people come from Santiago, Santo Domingo, all around the island to actually work in Sosua because they know that it's concentrated amount of expats. Therefore, they are going there for the money. That only makes sense. Same as Wasaga Beach in just outside of Barrie, Ontario in Canada. Okay, just outside of Toronto. You go there and the prices are going to be jacked up on the beach, 100%. You go to a bar and you're going to be paying a lot more for a beer than you are going to be paying for in a bar in downtown Toronto or in the outskirts. So in a tourist area, you always got to expect somebody to come up to you. So if you're in Sosua, you are going to get hit up. Chances are you will get hit up by somebody that wants something, but that's what they're here for. It's a tourist economy in Sosua. And Cabarete, a lot of people will sell you something, jewelry, boats made out of like banana tree leaves and stuff of that nature, you know, and a lot of the times they will have something to sell that is unique. And if you don't need it, you can say to them, I don't need that, but here's 50 pesos, you know? So I think overall, if you're coming to Sosua only, then yes, you're going to encounter a higher concentration of people asking for things because that is logical. We have a higher concentration of expats here. It's the tour over the water, over the beach, and that's not going to happen. Like, it's not going to happen. Los Charamicos is all family. They're not, you might see those same people. Los Charamicos is in Sosua, but the other side of the beach is El Bate, where you're going to find a lot of expats. And that's where they'll do their hustling. A lot of the Dominicans and Haitians as well. The reason why is because of tourist industry that exists there. But if you go somewhere else like Gaspar Hernandez, Sabaneta, that's not going to happen. I can assure you 100% that's not going to happen. Oh, here's an example, though, that you might get a little bit of a higher price. Oh no, I have low battery. I'm going to have to go soon. But like, for instance, La Puga, secondhand store. You might go and like buy a top, and for local, it may be 50 pesos, right? But for you, it might be 100 pesos, right? And that's just logical. That's just like, they're selling clothes on the street and they're trying to make $1, and that's just logical. And I'm cool with that, right? Because like, I'm cool with that. It's not much more. It's not like it's going to be 50 pesos for a local and they're going to put it up to 500 pesos for a foreigner. It's not that far much of a jump, right? But I just want you guys to come with faith and come with love and come with logic and knowledge and not negativity based upon other people's experiences here who maybe don't like to give tips even in their own country, right? And some of you guys might be disagreeing with me on this, and if you are, leave your comments and let me know what your experiences are, because it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I'm spewing truth here, and at the end of the day, it only makes sense to be humanitarian, because again, they're not asking for all kinds of money. Nathan, you never lived in Sosua. Where did you experience all of this? Because I know it wouldn't be in the campo. That's impossible in the campo. Maybe Santiago. I don't know about Santiago. I can't speak about Santo Domingo either, or Punta Cana, but I can speak about from um, Puerto Plata to Gaspar Hernandez. That's why I keep using those distances. And I can't speak too much about Puerto Plata because I don't spend a lot of my time there, but I do know that there are a lot of foreigners there as well on the Malecon, so it could happen there as well. Douglas Anderson, all I can add is that if you go, they can make an honest living and expect begging. Don't take it personal. Yeah, that's a very good point, Nathan. I don't take it personal, just an observation. True, it's an observation, but, or an experience. It's your experience, right? Douglas Anderson, Boca Chica has way more begging than Sosua. Ah, see, I can't speak on Boca Chica. For those of you who don't know, Boca Chica is located in Santo Domingo area, and I don't know, but I heard that it's a beautiful beach and it's gorgeous there. So, and it's a lot of tourism, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're going there for the opportunity of tourism. And Sojourner, up and above, how is Sosua different? Sosua is different. Sosua is different than Cabarete, and different than La Union, different, it has its differences. I would have to see the message to actually understand what you're saying there. Randor, some people disrespecting to the Dominican people. Randor, tu inglés es muy bueno, ¿verdad? I'm very proud of you. Started to talk. He WhatsApped me like 2 years ago and he only knew hello. And I said to him, okay, you're going to start speaking English to me through voice note. And so he would check in with me a couple of times. I remember one time he said to me, Cerise, what does holy smoly macaroni mean? And it's my little thing. And like, you know, my mom never swore when I was growing up. She would say, oh, sugar, instead of oh, S-H-I-T. And so I took that mentality on as well growing up. And so I'm the type of person to say, holy moly macaroni instead of holy crap. Sometimes I will say holy crap if I'm, you know, in the moment, but not often. Jody LeGrand, no true. What's not true? Tell me what's not true. Nathan B, I think Dominican culture is very money focused in general. Nathan B, they are class focused. Nathan B, classism. I don't know, I'm pretty money focused myself. I do most of my business for money. And class in Canada, and people love to be classy. They have something in Canada called the Sunshine List. And you get on the Sunshine List if you make over a certain amount, over 100,000 or something of that nature. And I was dating this one guy, and he's like, do you know I'm on the Sunshine List? And I was like, what's the Sunshine List? How many millionaires did I date? Well, like back in my day, right? I wasn't a chapeadora, but I mean, I was into dudes that could take care of themselves. Now it's totally different. You know, once you get to a mature age, it's character that you flow towards more. But back in the day, they don't want to be on the Sunshine List because they're trying to skirt taxes. You know what I'm saying? But then there's some people who are on the Sunshine List. And this one guy said to me, do you know I'm on the Sunshine List? And I was like, what is that? And he's like, well, it's for people that make over 100,000 a year. And I'm like, okay. Class. People want to be bunched all around the world in regards to how much money they make. So yes, people are going to be like that here as well. They want to be separated from stuff. Even in the Bible, it says that a lot of people who don't have anything are usually disrespected. I don't remember what part of the Bible it says that, but it says, like, you know, a lot of people who don't who are poverty, they're not respected from people who do have money, right? So that's classism all around the world. And I think I'm pretty business minded, and I don't do all my business for free. right? So I guess I'm kind of money focused as well, right? Every single morning I wake up and I do business. So I don't know. I can't agree with a lot of this stuff because of living here with the locals, not just visiting for 3 months or 1 month. Some of you guys have been coming for 20 years and you guys know so much, and a lot of you guys taught me when I first came here, but a lot of you guys directed me in a certain direction where I'm like, that's not true. And then some of you guys directed me in a direction where I was like, oh shoot, I can start seeing this and that now, right? So, but overall, I have to say that if there's people that are money focused, it's because they're not getting the money. You know, they certainly have a lot of love, and whatever you give does go around. It really, really does go around. This battery's gonna run out soon, guys. Sosua is DR up and above. Oh, okay, you're clarifying now. Sosua is a magnet for chapeadoras and beggars. We all know what goes on in Sosua. Right, it's a magnet for anybody trying to make money that lives here because they know it's a tourist industry, right? It only makes sense for them to come to Sosua and look for money in Sosua because this is where the money is. They're not going to go to Gaspar Hernandez where there's all locals and try to get money off their neighbors. Chances are they can get a meal off their neighbors, like rice and certain commodities, but here's where they will get the money. Cabarete and Sosua and Boca Chica, I guess. Jody, this pandemic has really put the world in a bad place. Absolutely. DR up and above. Nathan B, then you know nothing about us. Millie, hola, made my first live. I don't know what that is. Made your first live with me. Hola. Is that Millie? Chico Low, Nathan B, what do you expect when the police don't even make a year what some people in the States make in a month? Shaking my head. My friend are classless for that statement. I gotta say this. Another thing about the police here, and gosh, the cell phone's going to give out any second. Oh my gosh, the battery just is gonna die. And I can't plug it in as I'm talking either because this needs a wireless charger. But let me see if I can go on another cell phone. But I want to say, the police here, I don't know why everyone talks so badly about them. Shouts out Edison from Amet, my buddy, and shouts out to Henry, my buddy, who's a police officer here as well. And shouts out to all those good police officers who are really tired of getting bad reputations. And, you know, shouts out to the police officers who are working it. Of course, there's always going to be in North America where you have your deceitful, evil. In America, you call them precincts. But there's so many deceitful people making money off drug busts. And that's thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. We need to get everything leveled out in our brains here. When a police officer pulls you over and you don't have your license and you're not leveled up and you offer them money, you're giving them like 1,000 pesos or whatever. Maybe you're driving out during the pandemic and you need to get back to where you are and get pulled over for a lot more. But that's because those men are paying for ladies. And when you get yourself involved in the, pay to play and stuff of that nature, the prices start to change because the police are like, you're here to have some fun. You're going to be spending money on women. Why don't you do this and this and that? And you pay them to get out of trouble. We need to start, I think we need to start doing things a little differently. Is it possible? Do you guys know? No. Okay. Maybe I'll just go on to another live when this phone runs out, because this is a very good, I love this interaction. I'm just myself, just a little tired of hearing so many negative things about the Dominican people, and this one vlogger's talking about how much money you're going to pay a woman, or what the heck? Like, what are we going to come here and tell Dominicans how to live? No. When you're in Rome, do as the Romans do. You know the old saying. You got to hold it down, be respectful. Randor, everybody loves money. Yes, who does not like money? I work hard. Money is what makes the world go round. And of course, people in America make more money than Canadians. Um, I sent $800 to myself the other day, Canadian dollars, and I got 500 American back. Could you imagine losing $300 in an exchange? Okay, that hurts. And I'm Canadian. I don't come from a third world country or a developing country. So when I pay my rent tomorrow, $380, right? That's American dollars. That means I'm paying like 500 for rent Canadian. Okay, so it is what it is. America is the empire right now of dollars, and it only is logical, period. When you have people here making $10 in a day, 500 pesos in a day, and then you have people in Canada, I don't know about America when it comes to minimum wage and stuff. Sorry, it was reconnecting. But let's see here. What's this? You're talking about your ex a lot, Jody. Yeah, because he was a big portion of who he was just kind of like, because I'm talking about the past a lot, and he just happens to get in that, living a God-filled life. Randor, I don't love money. I love God. I am nothing without my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. God should always come first. Absolutely. And Randar is one of the most spiritual people that I do know on this island. So when he says that everybody loves money, what he's saying is it's not only Dominicans that chase after money. He's just talking about the money aspect of things, because we're not really talking about religion right now. I love God. One of my tattoos right here says siempre con Dios. That means always with God, and in Spanish, because on every single bus here, Dios is mi vida, Christ is my Cristo is mi savior, right? Very, 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 very much here. And I've never seen it in Canada. You're never going to see a bus up on the front. Nothing like that. And almost in every single car, every single bus, even if it's a private car, and they have something, it's going to have something about God most times. So we can talk about God, and I can talk about God till I'm blue in the face, because that's my baby. And you can look at my videos from before where I'm doing a lot of preaching, but we're not really preaching about that right now. We're talking about the reality of Dominicans and the fact that it's not bad to break them off a little bit, because they're not asking for much at all, right? So living a God-filled life, thank you though, thank you, just to keep that real. Thank you for bringing our creator into the picture. I think that's beautiful. And boom, boom, Montel again. Thank you, Montel. Thank you so much. Montel, when you get here, I'm gonna have to take you out for dinner. DR up above. People come to my country thinking that they will find the same comfort they left back home. You know what? Absolutely. And I had to learn that one on my own as well, with the hot water. And even now, yesterday, I wasn't going to leave here until the man is comfortable with it. Some walls might not need to be knocked down and everything if you're not comfortable. So was the landlord, just so honest with me, right? But I was expecting everything to be fixed. And now I'm like, okay, I'm moving tomorrow. All my stuff is packed up in the back. I'm moving tomorrow, but my stuff is getting moved Wednesday. And yeah, so, yep, let's see here. Nathan B, DR up above, true, but not me, just stating my observations that everything is rainbows and butterflies in the DR. But what are we sugarcoating? I'm just a little tired, to be honest with you, of hearing a lot of negativity here. And this is actually stirred from another vlogger who had so much to say about this country, and it didn't even make sense. He said he's going to debunk certain whatevers. That's not his job to do that, right? And you can make your observation and stuff like that, and it could be based upon your own experience, absolutely, but you cannot generalize a whole group of people just because it's like that here. Like, what I mean is there's a whole group of people here. So for instance, there's culture here. At lunchtime, you're gonna go. It's not like that in Canada. We don't have one culture. In Canada, we are multicultural. So therefore, many people behave differently. They're coming from all around the world, and we share each other's culture. Someone the other day called me a culture vulture. And I'm like, why not? Why wouldn't I? I was taught to do that. I was taught in Canada to go on one corner and eat Italian food, go on another corner and eat, Thai food, and another corner and, eat Japanese food. And if that's what a culture vulture is, or a vulture culture or whatever, then hey, if the shoe fits, I will wear it. And yeah, so it's just that's what the culture is here. It's just it. Everybody is what was the question now? I forgot. Oh yeah, you can't make assumptions about everybody just because it is a culture, right? Everybody comes together as one here when you understand people, and when you're chilling with nothing but Dominicans, and you're like just chilling with Dominicans and you're getting to know them better and everything like that, it's completely different. Completely different. I want to say shouts out to somebody named JC in Canada, and he loves Callejon de la Loma. He loves Callejon de la Loma so much that I actually put up a video of one of the houses in Callejon de la Loma, and he knew what street it was. He's like, Calle Once or Ocho or something, like Street 8, Street 11 or something, and I'm like, wow, and he loves it. But it's not sugarcoating things. It's just kind of bringing light to the fact that things are getting out of control. People are coming here and they're talking about they're going to expose certain things. These women are on, like, some of these women, they're not making very much money to give up their goods. And some of the guys are like, I'm going to teach you how to get it cheap. What does that, what is that? You're expecting a woman to give, right? Like, what is that? No, and some of you guys do, I don't want to talk about that topic anyway, it's not my topic. And I'm not bashing a lot of you guys either. You guys want to come here and have your fun with the ladies, you do that. I'll be the first person to keep my mind and my mouth on the down low. I don't judge you. But when I hear you guys on vlogs and you go, I'm not cool with that at all. And it just means that you're not hanging with many Dominicans. It just means that you're not going to be here for very much longer, because Dominican DR up above, that's a fact. But what they don't understand, that is much more comfortable than back home. A lot of love. That's right, there's a lot of love here. Lene, Nathan B, neither in Canada is rainbows and butterflies. No, it's not. Nathan B, Lene Gagnon, I would rather die than go to Canada. Nathan, are you American? You would rather die than go to Canada? Canada, I mean, that's what I want to do, but I love Canada. And I just don't want to go back to Canada. I was there for 46 years. And but it's a beautiful place. So if you're American and you say you don't want to go to Canada, you should check it out. Toronto's beautiful, and so is Montreal. Living a God-filled life. I am coming to the Dominican Republic to teach people about God. I am going to give out the Holy Bible in Spanish. I will walk from one neighborhood to neighborhood